guys, my name is Natalie and welcome to my channel. Today it is the long-awaited Q&A. First question comes from Anonymous Blah on YouTube. What made you choose crime science and how/why did you decide to start making YouTube videos? I'm going to answer the second question first. Okay, so in 2015, I was in my third year of university and I had just gone through a major relationship breakdown, and I personally don't really keep a large circle of friends. I have 2 or 3 people that I really depend on, and outside of that, I don't really tend to, I don't know, I'm a bit funny like that. Anyway, I started to feel very alone. So I just started my YouTube channel to sort of just reach out to people, see if I could make friends on the platform, just put some crazy crap out there and see what would happen, sort of, and yeah, the rest is history. What made me choose to study crime science is, that's a good question. I sort of studied crime science because I was already studying forensic biology, and in the sort of line of work that I want to get into, it makes sense to also have a background of policing, because forensics and policing do overlap. It almost gives you like a broader knowledge about, you know, when crime occurs, all of the factors that play into it. My second question on YouTube comes from Anna Vale. 2 random questions. Do you make ab fit videos? No, and I also really don't exercise that much. I'm allergic to a lot of food, so I am frequently very ill. And her second question is, will you collab with other YouTubers in the near future? Well, I have just collabed with V Reacts, and I am more than open to collaborating with other YouTubers should they approach me. We have questions from Gary Henshaw. Everyone talks about the Australian outback. Does the Australian outback have an out front too? That's very funny. My personal out front is an ocean, so. Gary also asks, when you close your eyes and think of the word beautiful, what is the first image that comes to your mind? Oh god, this is intense. Beautiful. Butterflies. Is that weird? I actually think of, yeah, like just big monarch butterflies. I don't know, there's something about butterflies that bring about change, or I associate with change, and maybe knowing that you have the freedom to change is kind of beautiful. I don't know. Okay, Alan O'Brien on Instagram. What country would you most like to travel to? There are so many. There are literally so many places I want to go. To name a few, I would like to go to Morocco. I think the art and the architecture there is amazing. On the same note, I would like to go to Spain because the architecture is amazing. I would very much like to go all over the UK. I've been to England because my dad's side of the family is from there, but I haven't really explored anywhere else over there. I'd like to go to Vietnam. I'd like to go to New Zealand. There's just like a whole bunch of places I really want to go to. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. Dave Paul Art via Instagram asks, have you seen or watched shows like Law and Order, Chicago PD, etc.? And what is your opinion on the realism they portray, and is it like what I study? I'm actually coming out with a crime segment very soon that talks about this. There's something called the CSI effect. Now, a lot of people in the crime or criminology related fields will say it's a pseudoscience, in that there's no proof that it actually exists, but there are trials where people who have seen shows like CSI assume that's what forensics is, and then make actual verdicts in actual court cases based on what they think should be science, not what science actually is. So me personally, I don't watch the shows because they're not realistic, and I don't like the way they portray forensics. They portray forensics as like an infallible field of many expertise, and it's really not. The only forensic science that has been deemed infallible is DNA analysis. Other than that, it's a lot of circumstantial factors that have to co-align in order for evidence to be, you know, regarded as solid evidence, and even then you can't rightfully say that the evidence is infallible, because no science is without its fault. Megan Minnie Cooper from Instagram: have you ever / do you still suffer with depression, and how do you cope? Well, I have bipolar type 2, which is technically classified as manic depression. I guess by default I would say that, yeah, I do have depressive periods. When I was 14, I was diagnosed with clinical depression. It didn't last very long though. There's a lot of like factors that co-occur in my life. I can have very bad episodes of depression, but I tend to not really do depression as a sad thing. So for me, because I've been very independent my whole life, I don't really like to show sadness. So if I am in a depressive state, I am more often than not very angry and very irritable, because I don't do sad very well. But in terms of how do I cope, a lot of the times I don't. Exercise definitely helps. I think just letting yourself cry and scream and chuck stuff sometimes helps, because it's like a reprieve. I also tend to get tattoos when I'm in a depressive phase, because I like that is an outlet for me. If you could sit down with any famous person, dead or alive, who would it be and what would you talk about? Oh my god, I have never actually considered this before. If I could talk to any famous person, dead or alive, I would actually really like to talk to Lady Gaga, because she seems like she's gone through enough in her lifetime to be very insightful on a lot of things, and the way that she approaches sort of her social presence is very interesting to me. I think she's got a lot of stories to tell, and I'm very weirdly attracted to people that have sort of not the best lives, because I feel like there's something to learn from those people, and I definitely think that, yeah, there's probably something to learn from speaking to her in person. So yeah, Lady Gaga. And finally, EJBag97 via Instagram asks, do you have any tattoos, and if not, are you planning on getting any? Yes and yes. I currently have 5, 2 of which I've made a video about. The other 3 I haven't really spoken about in great detail for any particular reason, but I'll talk you through them now. And I also do have plans for more tattoos. I want to tap out at 10 at this point. I don't know, we're probably going to go beyond that. So the ones that I do have, I have 2 unilomes on the backs of my ankles. I'm actually atheist, but I very much align my morals with the principles practiced in Buddhism, and I think the unilome is the symbol, or is a representation of the pathway to enlightenment. And I actually got them when I got diagnosed with severe anxiety. I wanted a physical, visual separation of myself and my anxiety. That's why I got 2, and it's sort of like me working on my way to my goals, and then me working on my anxiety and fixing that. My first tattoo I got when I was 18, it's on my right hip. Nobody sees that tattoo. It is a stencil tattoo, which I really need fixed, of my first camera, which is sort of also associated to the memory of my uncle. My first camera was actually his camera, which I received after he passed away. So that's 3. And then obviously, if you've watched my video about did I get a Halsey tattoo, I've got Hurricane written on my arm. That's explained in more detail in that video. If I can find it, I will link it down below, and so is the Tetractus. Plans. I have plans for 3 more. I will discuss 2 more. I have a lot of scarring on my right thigh thanks to being caught in a rip in Italy in 2012. We were at the beach, we got caught in a rip. Italy is very much just rocks and coral shelves, and we got thrown pretty hard into a coral shelf, and I came out very cut up. So I was cut on both of my arms, across my stomach, and down one of my legs. My legs copped the brunt of the coral shelf, so those are quite deep, and they are very jagged, and some of them are deep enough that they affect my nerve endings, and it's very sore. But obviously, every time I end up in an emergency department, generally for allergies, the first doctor that sees that automatically thinks I self-harm, and which kind of bothers me, because I then have to sit there and justify myself to somebody who thinks I'm lying anyway. I just yeah, it really frustrates me. So I would like that covered up. I'm thinking something to do with the moon, and I'd also like to get a monarch butterfly. I'm thinking back of my elbow. I haven't decided yet. It's probably gonna be really painful across the tendon. As I was saying before, butterflies kind of symbolize change and new, and you know, a renewal and a growth and a freedom that I sort of wish to achieve at some point. And other than that, they're all in black and white. So thank you to everyone who sent in questions for my Q&A. If you have any more questions, as I said, pop them in the comments below. I will try to get to everyone. If there's enough questions on one topic, I will make a Wednesday video about it. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I will see you all in my next video.